how we dealt with Ebola, which ultimately we dealt with it quite well, and we ended up preventing it from having an outbreak here in the U.S. The way we did that is we screened people at the airport to determine where they came from, if they were in Africa, and if they came from countries where Ebola was present, they could possibly be quarantined. That was the appropriate way to deal with Ebola, and I would say this is the right way to deal with monkeypox.
Ebola is not actually very contagious. If you keep sanitary conditions, you don't have a lot of body fluids flying around, you're probably not going to get Ebola. And there's never been an Ebola outbreak in the West because of that. This, as you just heard the doctor say, can be spread through sneezing. So it's a totally different thing, actually. And I guess my question is theoretical. I'm not calling for any kind of quarantine of visitors here. But theoretically, if you had a country with a real outbreak of this in Central Africa, for example, why wouldn't you, in the interest of our population, say we're not taking anybody from that country until this dies down? Well, if the only way to protect America was to ban people from coming from that country, that would be appropriate. But we have to look at lesser measures first. Why?
Because if there are lesser measures that would allow not to have a ban but still protect America, then that's what you do.
Why would we do that? I mean, look, if you go, look, and I'm not arguing for this in this case, but I'm just saying theoretically, and it's meaningful because there are a lot of diseases out there that could come here, for real. This is a real thing.
Correct.
If your only real interest was protecting American citizens, which is, of course, not the real interest of our elites, as we both know, but let's say it was. Let's say you were following the Constitution and just looking out for your people, as you're supposed to. You don't owe anybody from any country other than this one anything. So why would you let a single person from that country in here? Because any person represents some risk. Why would you do that to your people?
Well, Tucker, you have to look at the science. If a person truly poses a risk because of the country that they're coming from, and there's no way to mitigate that risk in a way to protect American people, then yes, we should ban them. But we should remember we are a country of immigrants. Thanksgiving is coming up in 2 weeks.
Oh, so
the Pilgrims were immigrants.
That's more important.
No, it's not more important. But it is an important policy that we allow immigration, that we do encourage immigration, that we are a beacon of hope for people who come from
no normal person would apply this.
Countries. And as I said,
no person would have that standard with his own children. You wouldn't say, I want to mitigate the risk. You say, no, I want to eliminate the risk because I love them. They're my kids. I care about them. My job is to protect them. But our leaders don't feel that way about us. So like, oh, I'll mitigate it. They'll probably be fine. Maybe not totally fine. Fine enough for you. That's what they're saying.
Well, you have to look at each disease when it comes up, and you have to deal with it based on the science. As I said, if the only way to protect America is to ban people from a particular country, then we should do that. But that's not what we had to do with Ebola. We did quarantine. That was enough. Look, and it's also important to remember that one of the ways we solved Ebola is by bringing some people who were infected back here so they can get the great medical treatment that we have here in the U.S. in order to help solve Ebola.
Our duty. We're out of time. David.